I need to go to therapy.
You're being dramatic.
Because of your dog.
She butt juiced you just a little bit. It's not even that big of a deal. You're over here acting like...
It's not a big a deal.
You're over here acting like she pooped on you. She didn't poop on you.
Dude, that's almost worse.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you.
She butt juiced on me. Do you guys know what butt juicing is? It's when a dog's anal glands... Like, what do they do? The dog's anal glands get...
Stella expressed her anal gland on
She expressed something, and I don't like it.
It smells like bad vagina.
Dude, it almost... It smells even worse than bad vagina.
She apologized. So can we talk about what we are drinking this week? Because your nice little bartender here, me.
Yeah, you.
Wah.
Yeah, it's your turn.
This week I made us a toxic tea because we're going to be spilling all of the toxic tea this week.
That's a nice spin off of like a twisted tea
Yeah.
or a Long Island iced tea.
Well, it is a spin on a Long Island iced tea, but it's way more delicious. So I used a caramel apple spiced vodka. Mm-hmm. I did a spiced rum, a spiced gin.
I think just regular gin.
Just regular gin.
Yeah, you
I don't remember.
Bombay.
I used like spiced stuff if it was there. And then I did a little bit of pineapple orange juice because we didn't have sour mix. So we did.
And Malibu.
Oh, I did Malibu.
Yeah.
I did a splash of Malibu. And then I topped it off with Red Bull, the blueberry Red Bull.
Yeah. It literally looks like a bar mat
like
shot.
Tea.
It looks like a bar mat drink, but...
It's tea. It's so delicious. So, cheers. I love that I caught your face. Cheers.
My dead-eyed stare. Okay.
Emma dissociated a little bit.
Cheers. I'm having a bad day.
At least it tastes delicious.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It actually really does for all the stuff that's in it.
It's super tasty.
I may steal that idea.
It's very tropical. Oh, God, I got something in that. Okay. So I want to hear about why you're having such a bad day, other than Stella butt juicing on you. Sorry.
I think that's really it. I think because I was having such a good day, you know. I went grocery shopping.
Was it really that good of a day of such a small, little, insignificant thing threw you off so badly?
That's kind of just what I do, though. Like, I have a really good day, and then I'm like, we're having a great day. Okay. All right. And then something comes along and just like shits on it or butt juices on it. And I'm like, okay, I don't deserve a good day. We're going to start over tomorrow.
And then the universe expresses its anal glands on you. Anyway. I know this week how did this come about? The
intro topic?
The jealous girls.
Yeah. So I think we all have been in a friend group where there's women that will create competition between y'all. And I don't know if it's like an intimidation thing or what it is, maybe a jealousy thing. It's
self-esteem. It's all about self-esteem.
It could be that. But I had an experience with that a couple weeks ago, and I wrote it down, and I was like, I think we need to talk about this on the podcast. But I'm not really sure where it stems from, but I feel like women that are easily intimidated by other like strong, confident, self-assured women tend to try to break them down. Mm-hmm. And I think it's very important for everybody to know, don't do that. And that actually you can hold a lot more power in supporting other women and bringing them up than finding an insecurity within yourself.
I think most people see that for what it really is. Like when you have a girl that's trying to break other girls down rather than build them up, that's a girl that doesn't feel very good about herself. Yeah.
And as you get older too, you really your eyes open and you get to see that kind of thing. But yeah, that was just something that I had experience with. And I think, like, again, as you get older, you start to you don't surround yourself with those kind of women. Honestly, like, I don't have any friends that are intimidated by me.
Well, this was how it came about. The podcast last night with Justin and Gage, where Justin said that some girls are afraid of coming around because of
a couple of our guy friends
being intimidating.
Yeah, that you guys will see in our circle told us that they've had some female friends that wanted to come around, or they wanted them to come around, and they literally refused to come around because they were intimidated by us because we just hold ourselves in such a confident high regard.
Well, because we are. Like,
absolutely.
We have a reason to hold ourselves that way.
Yeah, and they hold us that way too. Like, our guy friends talk the greatest of us. And if you guys don't constantly surround yourself with people that are always bringing you up and always talking good on your name when you're not around, you got to find yourself in your friend group.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and I think something to keep in mind is almost everyone in our friend group are pretty successful in their own right.
And confident in themselves.
So they don't really feel the need to break other people down to make themselves feel better.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't make you look better when you tear other people down. I was listening to, I think it was on TikTok the other day. It's a relationship therapist or psychologist or whatever. But she was saying that one of the best things you can do as a female, if you're like out with your guy or you're out with a date and you see an attractive woman walk by, so many women I think will feel the need to kind of make like a dig, some sort of a slight...
Or look at their man and see if he's looking at her and judging how to react based off of his reaction.
So I'm not normally like that.
I'm not either. No, I'm like, I will literally nudge my man and be like,
you see her?
She looks good.
Like,
she looks good.
So, and the woman was saying that I think some women think that if they bring attention to those women, they're taking away from themselves.
Yeah, taking any value from themselves.
People are going to look at those girls anyway. Like,
right.
Your dude's looking at her, whether you think he is or not. And it's not even in a like jealousy way. Sometimes it's just
a man.
Appreciation.
Yeah,
she's an attractive woman. She takes care of herself. So if you can embrace that, like, oh my God, did you see her? Like, love everything about it.
And honestly,
from the hair to the outfit to the way she walks, like she carries herself, that is a bad
And even
woman.
if you don't think those things, do it anyway. Because I feel like that will make you more comfortable in that situation too. Like, let's say you find yourself judging this girl during whatever she walks by, you're judging her, and you're like, it makes me insecure or whatever. You can actually turn that around and just, fake it and just be like, oh, she looks beautiful, and tell your boyfriend that, because I feel like it would practice you reacting in that way in your brain, because you can train your brain to like change that kind of thing.
Well,
and if you react in that way, it obviously just makes you look better, and then also like that would just make you feel better.
Something that I think would be a good takeaway for the guys out there too is if you're out with your girl or you're out with a date and you see that attractive woman and your girlfriend like points out something about her, give your girl a compliment.
Yes.
Be like,
reward her for
if she says something complimentary about that girl, or even if she doesn't, like whatever the source may be, if she's not complimenting her, if she makes a dig at her, that's usually a sign that she's not feeling great about herself.
Yes.
So I think
also like if she compliments that girl, leave it at that. Be like, yes, she's beautiful. Don't go, oh, I'd fuck her, or like, oh my God, oh I'd smash that, like all this stuff. Like, don't add on to it.
We're not your bros.
We're already validating your thoughts.
We are not your bros.
We're not your bros. We're not your bros.
We're not your bros. Like,
you can say that around your bros, not around us.
Yeah. So to say and be like, she's gorgeous, or she carries herself, or I really like her hair. I love that dress. I had a guy one time, I was out on we were on a date, and I saw a girl and she was wearing one of those like really nice body hugging like sundresses. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, like her body looks amazing. And the guy that I was with was like, oh my God, we need to get you one of those dresses. Like, you would look so hot in that.
Yes, he switched it to make, so he's thinking of you in that dress, not her. Yeah,
correct.
I love
so that was like major kudo points for that guy. But yeah, guys, if your girl points it out, we're not your bro. Don't start talking about all the stuff you want to do with that girl. Don't try to get your girl to go and invite her in for a threesome. That's gross. It's nasty. It's tacky. Don't do it.
Unless y'all are looking for that together.
I mean, it shouldn't be your idea.
Yeah, I don't know enough about all that.
It should not be the dude's idea.
No.
No, and so I know I talked about Love is Blind last week a little bit, but there's like two couples in there where the guy, like the couples pick each other, and then there's a point, like all of these people are dating while they're in the pods, right? Like, so you date everybody. Mm-hmm. So at the end, there was a point where everybody met each other. And so you get to see the other guys that you were talking to, and the guys get to see the other girls. And there are two couples on the show where the guys are going on and on about how attractive one of the other girls is. and like how that would normally be their type. Like one of the guys was like, you know, she looked like an Insta baddie. She's the exact type of girl I would normally go to at the club.
Social media is ruining relationships.
And
An Insta baddie, like,
well, I mean, it's Raven, and she is like a baddie. Like, she's very attractive. She's a Pilates instructor, so she's got a body for days. But the dudes are going like too far in their compliments of that other woman.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Right.
And we were sitting there watching it like, do these guys have no sense of self-preservation whatsoever?
Yeah, dude.
Do you have a death wish? Did you wake up this morning and choose violence?
God,
so females, don't tear other girls down. And it's really like one of the most powerful things you can do is to help build up another girl. And I know for me, when I like help pick up one of my girls who's having a bad day, that instantly makes me feel so much better about myself too.
Right. And I feel like it's also, again, like even if you fake it, it also just like, you know, it's that false
fake it till you make it, baby.
Yeah, false confidence in your head. And you're like, okay, well, I still feel good. You know, it doesn't take away any of your power or your beauty or anything of your feature. Like, it's literally just an observation. Like, it doesn't have to be that deep, you know?
Yeah. So do we want to move on to our toxic topic of the week?
Yeah.
Which is keeping your options open.
Yeah. Yes. You have to keep your options open in the beginning of a relationship, because I feel like not that one person, if you really connect yourself to just one person in the beginning, you're going to get attached, and it's not going to be a healthy attachment.
Not always. And not normally.
Yes. And I take that from my own experience because I'm a one guy girl. So dating in the beginning is very tricky for me to navigate because I'm really busy the way it is mentally. So to have my attention all in one guy, it's just easier for me. So that it's harder for me to do that. So I'm still taking notes.
I mean, it's something, I don't think any of us are very good at it, but I try to keep a perspective. So when I'm going into a new situation with someone new, I go into that with the expectation that they're talking to other people.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should go into those new dating situations with the expectation that person's talking to other people. I think that's one, it's healthy. You're not going to have any nasty surprises. And if you're not the type of person, like I've explained it to someone before, I don't want to get chosen because you didn't have any other options.
Right.
I want to get chosen because I'm the best option.
Yeah. And especially as the woman, the man that we end up choosing, we want to have options. Like, we want you to be wanted. Well, because that means that you have those characteristics.
Everyone wants to be wanted, right? So I don't.
Right. Yeah. But like, we want you to be wanted too. We want to know that we caught a prize, and I feel like that's also the same for men. Like, they want a woman who's very sought after.
I think it's unrealistic to think if you have like a high value, high quality person that you're talking to, whether that be a male or a female, I think it's kind of unrealistic to expect that after your first date, they're just not talking to anyone else.
Right. And dating multiple people doesn't mean you're sleeping with all of them, which you should not be doing.
I mean, live your life.
Live your life.
That's not something you or I, like, I know you and I are kind of on the same page with that.
Yeah, that's not something I do.
Well, and I think I brought it up in one of the last podcasts where I said, you know, the first, like by the fourth or fifth date, that is when I'm not really entertaining those other options. So like,
or when you should have the exclusivity conversation.
Well, dates 4 and 5 for me are really, that's the point where I've decided, okay, am I going to invest my time, my energy, my emotions, whatever, into a relationship with this person, or do I want to go ahead and back off? And if by date 4 or 5, I'm not excited to be in a relationship with you,
it's very telling.
We're probably not going to get there.
Yeah.
So,
when you can see like too how different relationships progress, like if you, and I mean, it's not bad to have options, but if you have one that's taken off and you have this one that's just not, and you've gone on just as many dates, that also just tells you how much more special this one is too. But if you stick with just one, and you shouldn't compare, but it doesn't give you that kind of like.
You're going to compare.
Yeah, we're humans. We're going to naturally compare.
You're going to compare. You should compare.
Yeah, but it doesn't give you that like baseline threshold of like.
Well, so I think the reason keeping a quote unquote roster early on is healthy is because it will stop you from being blinded by possibility and potential.
That's huge. Like future framing and love bombing.
I know you and I have talked about that, where that's such a difficult thing to get out of as a female, where you shift your mindset away from the potential and the possibility of this relationship into what is reality. So men are typically going to tell you the truth. They're going to show you who they are pretty early on. Don't excuse their actions. If they're telling you, I don't want a relationship. And I sent you a TikTok the other day that was a guy that was giving the guy's perspective of it, where he's like talking about these girls and he's like, I just want to smash. But the girl is getting mad because she's like, you know, you're coming over, you're picking me up, you're opening the door, you are taking me out for dinner. Like, you know, you're going down on me for a long time. You're fucking me like a boyfriend would. You're cuddling me afterward. You're dropping me off. You're taking the trash out. Like, why would you do that? And he's like, that's the bare minimum. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I want to date you. If I've told you I don't want to date you, it's because I don't want to date you.
Listen to his words.
Listen.
Listen. They will tell you straight up.
And I know so many girls that'll be like, oh, but he doesn't actually mean it, or he'll change his mind. Do not try to change anyone. You're not going to. It's a losing battle. And if you do change them, it's not going to be a permanent change, usually.
Yeah, and that's not going to be fun. It's going to spin right back to where you started.
If you have to manipulate someone into being in a relationship with you, do you really want to be in a relationship with that person?
No.
So I think it's healthy to keep your options open.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean sleeping with everyone. And I'm 100% honest. If guys ask me early on, like, hey, are you talking to other people? I'm like, yeah.
Ooh, also, do you think that's a red flag? Because I kind of think that's a red flag, because that means they're not talking to anybody else.
So,
and I want you to have options too. Like, I don't want you to put all your eggs in my basket, because I just feel like that's gonna, again, create attachment issues, create neediness, create expectations, which should not exist yet, because the relationship has not started.
I feel like it depends on the person. I feel like I've been in situations where I meet someone and I'm very excited and I'm very gung-ho, and it's hard, and I'm not going to entertain someone else just for the sake of keeping a roster.
Right.
If I don't want to have a roster, I'll get rid of it. If I'm that excited about a person, I will allow myself to feel that excitement. But I also try to make sure I keep perspective, right? And usually if I meet someone and I'm that excited about them, there's a reason I'm that excited about them. Like, that is typically
that's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, you want those. You want that excitement. But the butterflies are not necessarily
a good thing.
Butterflies are typically a sign of anxiety.
That's what I read too.
Yeah.
Like butterflies were a sign of like a trauma response almost, like an attachment response.
You should be looking for someone that's making you feel secured and confident.
Like peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you don't feel that anxiety or that.
Well, I think there's a difference in excitement and anxiety. And I think
the
it's
butterflies
important.
Are the anxiety.
I think it's there's a difference. I think it's important to learn within yourself if what you're feeling is genuine excitement or if it's anxiety and the excitement of the chase.
Right.
Because I feel like as females, we shouldn't be doing the chasing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The men love to be the pursuers. So I agree with that.
I know we talked about the whole, keeping a roster.
Yeah.
And I know one of the questions that comes up is how do you approach exclusivity in a relationship?
Right. And you saw that video earlier today where it was, I think the guy said, instead of saying, what are we? You should say,
do we want to keep seeing other people?
Yes. Do we want to keep seeing other people, or are you going to be my man, or are you going to be mine?
Well, so I don't normally, like, in this sort of a situation, I don't normally like to be the initiator of this conversation or the exclusivity conversation.
But I also feel like men they loathe this conversation. Now, I don't know if that's just my experience with men, but I feel like when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to emotional conversation, I feel like men are never the initiators.
So I am going to disagree with you here, and I'm not going to pick on you, but I do think that is a sign.
My experience.
That's a sign of guys who are not wanting to be in a relationship.
That are scared of commitment.
Because in my experience, when I have guys that are very excited to be with me.
Damn.
They're wanting to lock me down. They're wanting to make sure that I'm not...
Dude, the realization in my head
I
right
am
now.
so sorry.
It's
but in my experience,
no.
well,
experience with men.
I think this is why it's important to keep the mindset of keeping your options open early on until you've had that conversation of exclusivity. But I have in the past, if the guy hasn't brought it up at some point, I may bring up that someone asked me out on a date. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this is necessarily a bad or a toxic way of bringing it up and just saying, hey, I'm just wanting to make sure we're on the same page. Someone asked me out. Are we still?
Yeah.
It's what I'll normally say is, are we still talking to other people?
Right.
And that allows the guy to say, no.
Basically, yes or no. Yeah, he'll have to give you a yes or no answer.
Well,
at that point.
most of the time, in my experience, the relationships I've been in, the guys bring up the conversation of exclusivity because they're wanting to lock me down early. Like they're wanting to take me out of the dating pool, right? Like, get her out of there quick before someone else comes and snatches her up.
Yep.
And if they don't, that's typically how I would approach it, is to say, hey, someone's asked me out, or I may say, oh, I've got plans this weekend with a friend.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's one of those where it's like, oh, is this a date? Because it's going to cause that guy.
Yeah. No, it's going to cause his protective, territorial.
Well, guys don't want to share their toys.
Exactly. So, and that's what
not that we're toys.
Our guy friends will say.
But guys are typically very territorial.
Yes, that's what our guy friends are saying. Like those girls that are actually worth it, that they want to lock down, they get very territorial.
They're going to lock them down quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that'll give you your answer.
I think when you have that one, I would hate if I have to have a conversation of what are we. That's probably going to answer it for me. Like, honestly, I'm probably not in a place in my life where I'm going to be asking a dude, so what are we? God. I will, however, have a check-in conversation. Hey, can we check in on where we are and how we're doing? I like you. Mm-hmm. I really like spending time with you.
Yeah, just to get their thoughts, because again,
this is a good time to bring up maybe some red flags that I've noticed or seen. Like, hey, here are a couple of things that I've kind of noticed that caused me to pause or feel a sense of hesitation with moving forward with you. Here are some things that I see. It allows the other person to have the same conversation. Yeah. Which is, I think it moves it from a place of toxicity and game playing.
And y'all have to be able to have that conversation and not take any of that personally too, I feel like.
Oh, because,
any of the red flags that they bring up, you got to be like, okay. And it could be red flags, like, let's say you don't like him liking a bunch of girls' pictures on Instagram or whatever it is. It's little red flags like that. But it also depends on what stage of the relationship you're at, because if you aren't exclusive yet, that's not a problem.
Well, I've had a couple of guys in the early stages, kind of around that date 3 or 4, be like, I don't feel like you make me a priority. That will allow me to kind of check them and say, well, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Yeah. Yes, I'm going to see you once or twice a week.
Exactly.
Because I have friends, I have family, I have work. I want to spend time on myself. Mm-hmm. I have other obligations. So you're exactly where you need to be. It will allow you to kind of get to that point where you can early on and in a very mature way say, hey, maybe we're just not a good fit for one another.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should be a bad conversation. I think the worst thing you can do is waste someone's time. Mm-hmm. I don't want to waste people's time.
Yeah, those are boundaries that you're setting too.
Absolutely.
Like, you need time for your family, you need time for your own personal space. And if someone can't respect your boundaries at all, at least understand, see where you're coming from, willing to, and it's not even like a willing to adjust around them, because they should also be doing that stuff too.
Well, and it's also a good opportunity to kind of check in and say, hey, what's your love language? Like, right, this is dates 4 and 5. This is where we're
how can I show you are a priority to me?
Yeah, and the guys could kind of say, hey, I know I have the tendency to be pretty emotionally
like
withdrawn. Like, I don't put myself out there very well. Like, I'm usually very reserved with myself. So some things that I get from guys at this point would be like, I feel like you kind of put on a front. You keep people at a distance. Mm-hmm. And again, it's all by design.
Yeah. No, honestly.
So I think around this point, dates 4 to 5 is where you should be having that exclusivity conversation.
Do you do that on purpose? Like withhold? Or do you do that naturally? Just because of like maybe a trauma response or like an experience kind of thing?
I would say it's a little bit of 50-50 with me.
Mine is all, like if I could be gung-ho with my emotions, I would. But mine is all, like I purposely withdraw myself. So a little bit. Like otherwise I would be full blown like not psycho, but just like I would show you all the love, all my feelings, everything. But I feel like there's a benefit in the beginning to withdrawing a little bit.
So I by nature am probably not the most warm, fuzzy, emotional person. It's just not who I am.
I'm really not until we get
It's not to say that I don't feel excitement for people, but I have the RBF pretty heavy. So I feel like I'm courteous. Like I feel like I'm a lot of fun on dates. I'm a really good time, but I'm also going to keep things back until I know where we're going. Right, I'm not going to fully invest myself emotionally in a situation that doesn't warrant it yet. I feel like that's dangerous.
Right.
And it will cause you to be so blinded to some pretty glaring red flags that you should be on the lookout for. And again, I'm not trying to waste my time. I'm not trying to waste anyone else's time anymore.
We're all about being authentic.
Yeah.
But there are some cases where, and it's not like that you need to protect yourself, but I just feel like there's a time and place for those emotions, and you need to save them for like a more intimate moment. Because
when I'm in a relationship with someone, I have to almost make an effort to be soft and emotional at times. Yeah.
I feel like the right relationship should just bring that out of you. But everyone's different.
It's it's my natural state. So knowing what I know about how people are, and maybe it's a trauma response, but I feel like it's just, I've been that way since I was a little kid. When I was a toddler, I didn't want to be picked up and held. I wanted to be left the hell alone. I want to go play with myself. Yeah. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone. I've always been that like very, very, I love being in my own space.
Yeah, that's
good. I love my me time. So
that's good.
I think it's not an intentional thing that I do.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the opposite. When I'm in a relationship, when I'm happy, I have to make an intention to like.
And that's so funny because
validate my partner.
That's so funny because y'all were telling me this like last week on how I came off as such a hard shell. Yeah. I feel like to everybody.
You were so intimidating. We were all real nervous about you.
But no, I came off as a hard shell because I don't like to play. It's not playing games necessarily, but I like to come off as a hard shell, and I don't do it on purpose. It's a very observant thing for me. Like I like to observe everybody I'm surrounding myself with. Like, can I be vulnerable with these people? Can I be myself? All the things. So I put on this like hard shell, instinctively, I would say. And then as I open up to everybody, I become like the biggest teddy bear.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The biggest baby ever, dude.
Now that I know you, I'm like, Emma, you look like you could kill someone, but you're a marshmallow on the inside.
The softest marshmallow, dude.
I look like a marshmallow, and I am a marshmallow.
So that's how I handle every relationship. Like a man, and like you said, like if we go out on dates, we're still having fun. Like I still open up, like it's fun, whatever, and I open up throughout the night. But, like you're not gonna get that like playful, fun side of me until I'm like fully secure that I can trust you.
Well, they have to earn that.
Yeah, and I love that. That's my little prize.
And it's the same thing for me. Like you want the emotional side, you want the sweet, bubbly, caring, affectionate. Right,
you got to earn that though.
Yeah,
you don't just get that. Nobody just gets it.
Well, it's a special thing. That is something that's of value. I don't just give that to anyone.
And I do think that specific people do bring that side out of everybody. Like you guys have shown me such love and loyalty and like support that it's effortless for me to be so like
and it should be that way. It's just for me, I guess I might be like a lizard person, so it is something.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can relate to both of us.
It's one of those things that I have to like conscientiously be like, show emotion, tell this person they're doing a good job, tell them you love them. Because I'll just like go about my day, and it's not that I don't feel those things for that person, I just don't communicate them very often.
Yeah. Well, in your priorities, like you have this like, I feel like you have like a pyramid of like priorities, and you are just always going to be right up here, which is great. Like the very tippy top. So anybody Like, I feel like you're just like tunnel vision to like, what's going to make me happy today? You know, like what do I have to do? What do I have to do for work? All this stuff. And you're just like you and all your stuff. And then everything's like secondary, which is just fine.
I get very like zoomed in. So when I do my bullet journal, I journal every day. I have my to-do list.
You have your routine.
Focus on that to-do list. Where I feel like I fall very short as a partner is when I'm stressed, when I'm anxious, when I'm nervous, when I'm dealing with a shitstorm. I completely shut down.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, all of my attention has to go to this.
Me too.
I know one of the things that you wanted to talk about was how hard it can be to find partners.
Yeah, that can handle like our lifestyle.
Because it takes a very special, confident, secure person, and it takes someone that has a lot going on in their life as well to not take that from me as I'm mad, I'm unhappy.
Right, and that's also an example of like a characteristic in a partner that we would be looking for.
Absolutely.
Is also just like not giving us anything to worry on your end too. Like, you know what I mean? Like the trust factor is absolutely huge.
Well, and I have to have conversations with my partners about that where they have to
no
feel
extra time in the day to deal with that.
Well, they have to feel okay coming to me and saying, hey, just checking in. Are you okay? Did I do something wrong? Are you good? And then I can be like, oh no, you're fine. I'm not unhappy with you. I've just got all of this going on.
And this is especially where the love languages come in.
Oh yeah.
Like if there's anything you can do to alleviate her stress, like let's say it's acts of service, you do the dishes,
that's huge for me.
Laundry, like just anything else that she would have to do that day, if you take care of it, man.
Yeah.
10 times more points for you.
Acts of service for me are probably my top love language in both giving and receiving.
And I feel like that would also be very consistent across the panel of girls that are in our position because we are so busy mentally and physically.
Well, and for me, my time is so valuable to me.
The day's planned out when I wake up.
I have such a limited amount of free time because I obligate myself. I'm obligated to my family. I'm obligated to my friends. I've got job. I've got work.
To yourself, like going to the gym, you know, like self-improvement.
I have multiple things that I have to focus on. So if I'm taking time out of my day to come see you, if I'm taking time out of my day to call you, to have a conversation, to reach out, to engage, that is valuable time that I could be spending doing something else. So I have to have the type of person that sees that, hears that, feels that, and goes, damn, this is like, that's how I show that I care.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I'm not the warm, bubbly, fuzzy, lovey-dovey person, but I will, you know, I'll do anything I can to try to like make people's lives easier.
Yeah. I love that's how we differ. Like, we are very opposite. And it's funny because I'll look like the harder side of it and you look like the softer side, but then like you find out deep down we're like opposites. Which is not a bad thing. It's just how we deal with things a little differently.
Different. But I love that you complete me.
That's why the podcast is so
also
good.
For exclusivity, just one last thing I wanted to touch on, which I think is adorable for a guy if you're wanting to ask a girl to be your girlfriend. And almost everyone I talk to when I'm getting to the stage, I will give them this. If not idea, then I will outright demand it.
Oh my God. Oh, is this the note thing?
The handwritten note.
Oh, dude.
The little check yes or no. Like, do you want to be my girlfriend? Check yes or no. I think that's adorable.
Back to, like, 6th grade.
It's so cute to me. It's such a little throwback.
It is cute. I mean, it can never get like an ick out of it, I don't think.
No, it's cute.
If you like that person enough, like it'll be cute always.
Well,
it's always gonna be cute.
You know, if it's given with like flowers on a special occasion, like whatever the situation.
Do you have to be asked to be your girlfriend, or can you all just like sit down and have that exclusivity conversation?
I want to have the conversation. So I have had a guy in the past that I probably embarrassed horrifically because we were out and about. We had gone on a couple of dates. I think this was back when I was in my earlier 20s. We had gone on like 3 or 4 dates and we met some people and he said, oh, this is my girlfriend, Lindsay.
Oh, yep.
And I was like, hi, I'm his friend, Lindsay.
Friend. Yeah, we didn't have that conversation.
And I looked at him and he was like, what? And I was like, we haven't had that conversation. We haven't agreed to that.
No.
And he was like, so we have to have a conversation about this now? I was like, yes, I am my own person. And if you want.
Communication is like number 1 priority in everything.
Those titles for me are important. That is a privilege. I don't just give anyone or everyone that. So if I agree to give you the title of boyfriend, that needs to be a conversation we have where we can agree on it.
Yes, especially I feel like if things haven't been so clear and you're going on dates with that person or they're also seeing other people or you guys have talked about that where you still have other options, that's so important that you have that conversation.
Well, I feel like sometimes guys will use that and they don't mean it.
Yeah.
So they'll be
all
like,
the time.
"Oh, this is my girlfriend,"
and they
that's
kinda
why
do
that's why I shut that shit down so quickly.
Yeah,
I'm like,
because
no,
they will use, "Oh, she's just my girlfriend," to save from an awkward conversation of, "Oh, what are you guys? How long have you all been seeing each other?" kind of thing. Is you can just say, literally, guys, take note.
This is Emma.
Yes, this is me.
This is Emma. This is Lindsay.
So
and the other person.
No. Like literally, guys, if you have someone come up to you and your girl at the bar, or whatever y'all are doing, and they go, "So how long have y'all been together? Like, what are you guys? Whatever." You don't need to say this is my girlfriend. You need to say we are getting to know each other.
That's great.
I think that's perfect.
And I've had a guy before where I was meeting like the friends or someone, and we had been talking for a couple of weeks at that point, and the guys were like, "Oh, are you guys dating?" And the guy was like, "I'm trying really," or she, "Is this your girlfriend?" He's like, "I'm trying really hard."
Now, do you call dating and exclusivity the same thing?
Well, I think dating is when you're going out on dates.
Yes.
Like there's the talking phase,
Right.
which is also dating. I mean, honestly, it's all the same. You're going out on dates. That's what I think too. And I think dating is dating until you're engaged.
Yeah. I mean,
so until you're engaged, you're dating. And that's
you
not
can go
to say
on
you're not
dates.
Exclusively dating.
Yeah, you can go on dates and not be exclusive with that person.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
So the first
and then there's exclusive. So there's like a tier. It goes like talking/dating, exclusivity,
exclusively
marriage.
Dating, engaged,
engagement, marriage.
Yeah.
So and I do think that and they would call your girlfriend around the exclusivity time, right?
Well, and what's the Beyonce? If you like it, then you should put a ring on it.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. It's as simple as that, right?
So, well, and
if your priorities are straight,
I make sure pretty early on that since that happened to me, like that was humiliating for both me and the guy, I'm sure. Yeah. And I was quick to shut it down. I'm like, "Oh, I'm his friend, Lindsay." Like we haven't had that conversation. And I did it in a joking way, but he was not the type of guy that was okay with that. So that was the end of that.
Before I was starting to like learn my worth, I went up to him after that because obviously even me being in like I was in a very submissive position in this specific relationship. But even after he said that, I just kind of like played it off, whatever. And then we got like separately and I was like, "Oh, girlfriend, like I like the sound of that," kind of thing. And he was like, "Huh, yeah." And I'm like, girls, it just puts you in such a horrible spot. Like,
well, and if as a girl, if you aren't the type of person that is like me, where you'll be like, "Nope."
Oh yeah, she'll tell you straight up.
You can always have that little look of,
Oh, I looked like that for sure.
And then
my stupid little brain was like, he called me his girlfriend. I love it.
You can do that in private later because that's something that makes me mad. Yeah. I'm just, in my mind, it's like...
And I didn't even know I was supposed to be mad at that until someone told me like, "Hey, did you guys even talk about that?" And I was like...
No, because in my mind, when the guy did that, I was like, the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this motherfucker. Like, no, homie. And I think, I mean, I wasn't as mature with my communication as I am
and
now.
I wasn't in that situation either.
And at that time when I was like, "We've not had that conversation. I'm his friend." And he was like, "What? Why would you do that around my friends?" I was like, "Why would you think that you have the right to assign a title to yourself that I get to give you?"
Exactly.
That's a conversation we have as adults. That's not something. So the worst thing you can do is to make assumptions.
And just not be clear in
Don't
communication.
assume that
intention.
you're exclusive with someone if you haven't had that conversation. I make sure guys know that.
Don't say you're exclusive with someone, or don't tell someone you want to be exclusive with them and then not be.
Yeah.
That's also another one. Like
toxic tea.
Yeah.
Goodness. No, I mean, I think we've all been in situations like that. That's one of the reasons why I wait so long to introduce sex into things.
Yeah,
because I make sure guys know, hey, you want the fun stuff? I don't.
And you require exclusivity before.
100%. Yeah. So
I'm adopting that now.
Typically, that can be kind of how I can slide that conversation in when the guy is wanting some sexual stuff, and I'm like, hey, I don't have sex outside of a committed exclusive relationship.
Yeah.
You want it, you gotta work for it.
Yeah.
And I don't give relationships away easy. So.
Yep. That's
and I would say probably 99.9% of the guys on this planet are not going to be a good match for me for that reason, because so many guys want that instant gratification.
The guy that you're looking for is going to like that, though, because I mean, you're not going to date 99% of the population anyway.
No, the type
of guy that you're looking for is going to actually respect the hell out of you for that.
The guys that I date, that's exactly how they are. They're like, they're wanting to lock it down. They understand my value. They understand my worth. I communicate that really well. And these are not guys that are wanting to leave the topic of exclusivity open for very long.
Yeah. Okay.
So, know your worth, ladies.
Know your worth.
And guys, if you have a great girl, lock her down.
Yeah. The grass is not always greener, honestly, like on the other side. Like if you're just waiting around for the next thing to come around because you don't want to like necessarily... Well, also, it should be pretty telling if you don't want to lock this girl down because you're waiting for something else, you know.
If you think there's something better on the horizon, go find it.
Yeah. Just leave me out of it. You know? Just communicate that, too. Like, we're understanding.
We're adults.
Yeah. Not everybody's for everybody. So you just tell them straight up.
No, and I know that you've really struggled recently, and you kind of communicated today that you're like, damn, when am I going to find my person?
Yeah. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about, like, what women in our position look for in relationships and how we look for those relationships, because it's so hard to find a guy to fit our lifestyle, and not that they need to fit our lifestyle, but complement it.
I think it's something that you can't, I think looking for that and hunting for that can be very dangerous, because I feel like as a female, you will settle for the closest thing you can find to what you're looking for.
And now I think it's the opposite, because I could have settled so many times because there were guys willing to, you know, work with my schedule and fit me in. But there was but that man, you know, may have not had a job or any goal or
well, it takes
had an attachment issue where they was just on my ass all day.
Special person to lock us down.
So you got to check all those boxes of, like, you know, you can protect. You got to be big enough to protect me. You got to be able to provide. You got to have your own goals separate from my goals. We can work together on mine. But if you don't have your own goals, like you know, you can't, and this bothers the hell out of me. But let's say I'm at home, whatever, I've worked all day, and the man comes home. He's like, all right, what are we doing for dinner tonight? And I got to make all the decisions. I can't stand it. I can't stand when the man makes me make all the decisions. And I'm like, I've been making decisions all day.
Yeah, no, I don't want to.
You tell me. But also on my end too, it's hard because we bounce back and forth, and this is the thing about being an entrepreneur as a woman, is like, also we want to provide those things for our man. We want to be able to be like, this is what we're doing for dinner, all this stuff, because that's like, you know, we like to sit in that role.
I feel like it should be a balance, but
it should be.
I love allowing the guy to plan those things for me.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that he can't message me and say, hey, I want to take you out on Friday.
Oh, yes, please. Like, just don't make me choose everything we're doing on this. You know, we have Saturday night off of both of our jobs, both of our goals, work, whatever. You're like, so we want to do Saturday. And I was like, I don't know, dinner and going out maybe to celebrate whatever you've accomplished, me, whatever. And then he's like, okay, where are we going? Where do you want to go to eat? Where do you want to go to celebrate and all this stuff? And I know your intention is so pure that you want to make it our idea and like you want us to have the best night, but don't. No, just tell us what we're doing. At 7 we have reservations here, and after that we're gonna go meet your friends at whatever.
I'll give some suggestions. I'll be like, oh, and I want
Italian that night.
I love rewarding. Yeah. So when
Thank you so much for thinking of me.
When the guy does something that fills my love bucket, if you will. I hate saying that because it sounds gross. But, you know, everything that the person does is like filling your bucket, right? So when I have the guy that makes those plans for me, that doesn't make me do stuff doesn't make me think of everything, and that understands and appreciates like how much I have to juggle. And he's like, look, I know you've got a lot going on.
Yeah, if you acknowledge that we have a lot going on, that's
can I
already
take you
half
out
the
on
battle.
Friday? I'm going to plan a paint Like, we're going to go to one of the drink and paint things. We're going to go to an escape room. We're going to go putt-putt. We're going to go do this. We're going to go do that. But having that guy, like, I feel so fulfilled and happy.
Yeah, and if you have the right man, too, he's going to have connections to set you guys up on some good dates, on some nice, fun dates.
You don't even require connections. You just Google things to do in my area.
Yeah.
I mean, don't take her to play putt-putt if it's 40 degrees outside, but like escape rooms are super fun. The paint parties are super fun.
Yeah. Or even just like a spa night in, and you plan just like a relaxing night.
I'm going to order in. We're going to watch trash TV. Love it.
Yes. I'm going to make popcorn, all the things.
Not every single time.
We'll have some wine.
Yes.
Oh, she'll hop on you.
Or that's when I can kind of contribute. The guy can say, hey, let's have a movie night. Let's order in. Mm-hmm. We'll watch some trash TV.
What wine do you want?
Do you have any requests? And I can normally be like, ooh, let's make some liquored hot chocolate. Like,
I want some Reese's
I want
Pieces.
pizza. I want red vines. I want burgers. Whatever it is. Like, if I have a preference, I can make it known. But that is one of the biggest things that, like,
and that's just
I feel love is when I have the person that plans
someone that
it.
recognizes. And if you're also busy, I understand that. But don't take it out on me when you're frustrated because you're busy. You got stuff to do.
Don't be grumpy if I'm busy.
I am already frustrated with the stuff that I have to do. I am not handling your little baggage from the day that you have going on too. And it's not that you can't come to me and vent about it, but don't make it my problem because it's not my problem.
See, and I will say that's probably one of the places that I'll disagree with you because I am 100% okay being my partner's safe space.
Now, no.
So
what I meant to say.
I can separate if someone is grumpy and they're venting toward me.
Yeah.
I can separate that from them being grumpy with me.
No, yeah.
Typically.
That's what I mean.
Or I will ask, hey, are you mad at me or do you have a rough day?
I guess what I'm trying to say is don't hold it in and manifest it in a different way. Like if you have a lot going on and you're manifesting it as like.
Communicate.
Yeah. And if you haven't communicated that that's why you're upset, but you still project it towards me, that's what bothers me.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's say I was in your way in the kitchen or something, and you're like, can you move? Like, you know what I mean? Just like being frustrated throughout the day because of your work and not talking to me about it. And that will manifest itself in projecting it towards you because
I would be the quick person if I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking and someone's like, can you move? I'll be like, I can leave.
Saying.
I can leave.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even have to be here.
I don't even have to be here.
What happened to you today?
Or I'll just grab my stuff and walk out the front door.
Yeah, just like, because I've had that happen to me in relationships too, where he's just irritable about it. He's like, oh, sorry, I just had a lot of stuff going on today. I'm like, well, talk about it.
Well, and I will normally say, hey, are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong or are you having a bad day?
I don't even like to have to say that. Like, I don't even want to have to think about that it's me because I don't even want to think it's me.
I would rather my partner ask me those questions than to make assumptions. So I always ask.
Oh, I'm just going to say, what happened to you today?
That comes across as kind of passive aggressive in my mind. What's the matter with you? What happened to you today?
Well, I'm not going to say it like, I'm going to be like, oh, damn, someone's grumpy today. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
That's just how I talk.
So well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's just how I personally like just talk because I don't want to get insecure about it. I don't want to feel like it's a me thing. So I'm just and it's a more lighthearted way for the guy to actually talk about it than me just being like, why are you so mad at me? Or just like, getting all emotional about it because that's just not what I do. But
no, I really
communicate.
I like being my partner's safe space, and I will agree with you, dudes. If you're having a rough week, like, I'm supposed to be your partner. Even when we're dating, I'm supposed to be your partner. So if there's something that I can do, and typically if my partner communicates with me that they're really stressed, I will try to say, hey, is there anything that I can do for you?
Right. Yeah.
That's part of being in an adult relationship.
Right. And that's just a part of communicating. Like, you just have to communicate. Those
and
kind of things.
When you've been in relationships for a long time, like, that's one of those things.
Usually you can tell if your
I
partner's
do not take it personally. I can usually tell if my person's like, I am such an intuitive, and it's annoying, emotionally intuitive person that I can just feel
the energy shift.
Energies off of people, and I'll be like, They're
Something's
frustrated.
off.
Something's weird.
You couldn't have even said anything, just the way you walked into the door.
Oh,
It's
well,
like,
that's a trauma response I have from like childhood.
Same.
I can
Same.
tell from the way people are walking around. I'm like, they're especially
Are
if I
they
know them well.
stomping? Is a door slamming?
No, it's not even are they stomping. Like them walking around, I can be like, oop, they're mad.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
God.
It's super annoying and it's very frustrating for my partner.
Honestly, I'm kind of thankful that I have that kind of trauma.
It's very
response.
frustrating for my partner because I'm like, you're upset, I can tell. And they're like, I don't want to talk about it. I accept the I don't want to talk about it answer because sometimes you don't want to talk about it. Sometimes it's.
Now that's a thing inside of me that I need to work on, I think, because I don't like accepting that because I will overthink everything in the entire world.
I'm very quick because I'm the type of person, if I get very upset about something.
But my man's got to know that about me.
If I get upset about something, I think about it. Because I have a rule where if I'm very mad, I'll get a snack, I'll drink a glass of water, and I'll go for a walk. And if I'm still mad afterward, I will have a conversation about it. Because sometimes
you can tell on my face when I'm mad. You will know.
Oh, absolutely.
Instantly.
But sometimes you just have a bad day. And sometimes you're hungry. Sometimes you're hangry. Sometimes you're cranky. And your partner may say something that rubs you the wrong way. So I'm very quick to be like, no, so I like to think about it.
Yeah.
So if I hear that from my partner of I'm frustrated and I don't want to talk about it, I know that they'll talk about it when they want to.
Right. And you also need to give them the opportunity because I know now to not react on emotion. So anytime I feel an emotion build up, I need to separate myself from that situation so I can calm down, think about it.
Take a 10-minute timeout.
Yes. And then come back to it and be like, okay, this is why I was upset. This is what bothered me. Whatever, and then go from there. But I actually love doing that now. I think it's helped tremendously in all my relationships with everybody.
It's something I've learned in therapy with like dealing with like anger management, how to express frustration and anger is to separate yourself as much as you can for a little while, think it through, and then you can think it through and you can calmly communicate why. And honestly, you might feel a certain way.
You might just figure it out yourself and feel better.
Well, like, and that's what I was going to say. Sometimes when I go for a walk, it wasn't that big of a deal. Sometimes when I go for a walk, I'm like, no, that was just like a thoughtless comment. I don't care about it that much.
I was overthinking because that does happen.
And I will spiral myself. I can come back, and when my partner's like, "You're ready to talk about it?" I'd be like, it's really not worth talking about. I can
tell you what I was upset about, but
I was having a rough day. Here's what it was, and then you can have a calm conversation about it rather than it turning into.
Honestly, I laugh at myself sometimes and the stuff that I get worked up about. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunately probably just part of our
trauma.
It's just the journey of being a female.
Yeah.
Hormones.
Oh God, that's so true. Depending on what time of the month it is.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm really annoyed.
And this is like a running joke between me and like one of my exes, but if I'm cranky, 9 times out of 10 I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Just hungry. Because hormones fluctuate when you're hungry. If you don't eat, that shit drops. You get pissy. So it's actually science.
One of the last things we wanted to talk about today is our sexy self-care tip.
Yay.
Which is...
I like this one a lot because I found myself doing this in relationships too. But
keeping your confidence in a relationship.
Keep your confidence in a relationship. Keep your healthy habits in a relationship. Everything that you did. If you went to the gym, took care of yourself, did yoga, Pilates,
got your hair done, got your nails done.
Yes. Pampered yourself. Continue to do that into the relationship because there are a lot of women that I feel like get comfortable and maybe let themselves go in relationships sometimes.
Well, not just girls. I feel like people in general do this.
Right. And I don't know why I'm just speaking to the girls right now, but
it's kind of a joke about that relationship weight. Sorry, my back hurts. Yeah. That relationship weight that people have where it's like, oh, you got in a relationship, so you put on 10 pounds.
Oh, Lord. The worst.
I mean, it happens, but you have to check yourself.
Yeah.
Because...
And y'all are going to love each other regardless. That's the thing, right?
Love is not blind.
Yeah.
You fall in love with who you fall in love with. And yes, you can love someone for their personality, but sexual attraction is very important. You can't control who you're sexually attracted to.
Yep.
If I'm with someone and we get together and I'm attracted to them at a certain... I work very hard to take care of myself.
Yep.
So if I'm attracted to you at a certain body type, I'm not going to accept you changing to someone that I'm not attracted to.
Yeah, because that shows that you're not willing to work on yourself and, and continue to take care of yourself, which was attractive to us in the first place.
How are you gonna take care of me if you can't even take care of yourself?
Exactly.
So I think keeping your confidence is very important.
Because if you do end up like letting go of some of those things that you love to do, or something, because the gym is good for your mental health,
you start to lose sense of who you are.
Yeah, and then you naturally lose confidence when that stuff happens.
Absolutely.
So, and that can actually, damage a relationship.
So when I'm in a relationship, I think it's very important that I take that time for myself. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be viewed as this selfish thing. No. If you have kids,
if you have a partner that thinks it's very selfish to go off and like go to the gym by yourself, you don't have to go with them.
Go get coffee with a girlfriend. Like I still have the nights with my friends.
Take work to the coffee shop by yourself and just work.
I have nights by myself. I have nights with my family. I have nights with my partner. I feel like that's one of the things that I have learned is to make sure that I continue to make that time for myself and to do those things that make me happy. Mm-hmm. And because
you're gonna have that if that person isn't there anymore.
Well, and I don't think it's unfair to ask that be something I do without my partner.
Yeah, no, it's super normal.
Like, I like to go to the gym. I don't necessarily want to go to the gym with my partner every day. And maybe if you have kids, maybe if that's the only time you can go, it makes sense. Maybe only, for whatever reason, you go to the gym at the same time. That doesn't mean you have to work out with each other.
Yes. If you don't even like working out with anybody, because I'm one of those people, and we differ on this too. You hate
working out with people?
I hate working out with anybody. Anybody. I don't care who you are, and it's nothing personal. Like my boyfriend, you even, our friend group. Like I put my headphones in and I blast music and I get that shit done. Because if I work out with anybody else, I won't get anything done.
Yeah, we went to the gym today.
I will talk the whole time. I will get lazy.
Emma was like, I'm turning my headphones all the way up.
Blasting my music. If you need me,
come get me. Otherwise, I'm going to go do my thing. And I was like, fine, great.
And then I crank out my workout fast because I just do a crap ton of shit. And so like I actually get my workout done. I lift heavy because I end up getting lazy when I like sit around and want to talk to people. I don't want to be like, breathing heavy, like trying to talk to everybody. So I like just find myself naturally not going as hard as I could be. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's incredibly important to keep doing those things that make you feel like you. Yeah. So, and as a partner,
because when you leave that relationship, you're going to still have that confidence.
Well, and even if you don't leave that relationship, your partner is going to get to stay in love with the person they fell in love with.
If that doesn't show the different stages of life we are in right now, I don't know what does. I'm already like leaving my next partner.
Like, I'm already out of here.
I'm already leaving the next partner.
I'm like, I'm planning the wedding. We're going to die together. Everything's going to be fine.
Exclusivity marriage.
Yeah. So it's just one of those where I think you should support. One of the best things you can do is to continue to support your partner doing those things that brings them joy. Yeah. If you've got kids, offer to watch the kids for an evening, so your partner for an hour or two, so your partner can go do something that makes them feel like themselves. Yeah. I feel like as women, that's one of those things that we consistently feel like we have to sacrifice.
Yeah, so we neglect it.
And I've definitely been in relationships before where
that's so sad.
If I would have married that person, I would have been the woman who's like never gets time for herself.
So miserable. Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest things that I want in a partner, is someone that continues. I don't want complacency.
Yeah, and if you start to do that and you start to throw off of your path and you start to get out of those routines that you have, you're going to start to be codependent on your person.
Well, and
because you're going to be hanging around with this person too long.
You shift away from the person your partner fell in love with.
Yeah.
That's why so many relationships end. You're not the person I fell in love with. You're right.
You had motivation, you had drive, you had goals, like for your body and for your job, and now you're lacking in one of those.
I hate complacency.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with complacency. And
I'm like always, you got to always be like this.
In any form of my life. So I don't want a partner that ever gets complacent or comfortable. I think
comfort is the killer. I think of anything that you do.
I think you should feel assured and confident in your partner and your relationship. You should feel comfortable that your partner isn't going to leave you, isn't going to cheat on you. Yep. Those are things that you should feel comfort in, but I don't think you should ever get so comfortable that you're not continuing to do those things to woo your partner. Yeah. Like, especially as a guy.
That'll keep the spiciness still there too. Like, you still look good. You still feel good about yourself.
It keeps the flame alive.
Yeah. Yeah. All that stuff is like,
if you want me the way that I was at the start of our relationship, you have to be you.
And you have to allow me to do those things that make me me at the beginning of the relationship. Yeah.
And I'm also in turn going to encourage you to go do those things that allow you to. Yeah. Like one of the things I did in one of my last relationships was if when we were together, you know, if he wanted to play video games with his friends, I'd be like, oh my gosh, yes, please, do that.
By all means.
I'm going to drink some wine. I'm going to drink some hot cocoa. I'm going to watch some trash TV. You do your thing. I'm going to do my thing.
Even sometimes I like just watching them play video games and drink wine and sit on my phone.
Oh, no, I want it to be.
I just had to add that because, again, we just love you doing your own thing so much.
Well, and I feel like with that kind of situation, I hear some of the things that come out of guys' mouths when they're playing video games. I don't want them to feel like they can't be their most authentic and comfortable self.
Yeah,
like,
I get that. I never thought of it that way, actually.
There's some stuff that comes out of their mouth, and if you're sitting there, you're like, oh, that's disgusting. You're in trouble. No, I don't want to do that. I want to be in another room. I want you to get to completely do what makes you happy. Play video games with your friends. Go on the guys' nights. Do your thing. Continue to build who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Support me in doing those things as well. And I feel like that's something that creates a very healthy relationship rather than that unhealthy codependency. You should not be doing everything with your partner.
No,
you should have separate friend groups. You should have separate hobbies. You should definitely have things you do together.
I love the separate friend groups because I actually have never been in a relationship where our friend groups are separate.
Oh, I think it's so important.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that you can't engage your partner and your friends, but I know our friends group has a tendency to be kind of like a little bit, we're friendly, but we're a little bit standoffish with the strangers.
Yeah. I mean, rightfully so.
For rightful reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, so
a lot of people be steering you wrong.
I think it's healthy and important to have those separate friend groups. Like your guy should be allowed to go do things with his guys.
Yeah.
Girls should be allowed to go.
And you should be able to be invited to each of those friend groups too.
With certain things, but I think it's important to encourage your guy to go do things alone.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't want to be there for everything that my dude's doing. I want you to go have those nights where you can talk shit about me to your friends. I think that's important because I want to get to have those nights too where you can go and you can get it out. You can get it off your chest.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you create a healthy, well-balanced relationship is you
talk shit about me to your friends. No, that's actually a really good point because I know there's so many times where I was hanging out, like my ex and I were like so codependent on each other, like way back in the day. And it's so unhealthy. And then you start to like, and it literally came down to the point where I was going to go on a girls' night for the first time in a couple, maybe a year or two. And because COVID happened. And he was like, well, what am I going to do?
Well, can we talk about how your friends will also start to resent you and your partner?
Yeah, that's true.
I've had girlfriends where they would not come out. They wouldn't do anything without having their partner there. And it's because the partner would get their feelings hurt if they got left at home. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Be individuals who come together.
Yeah, exactly. Complement each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the same person. That's weird.
No, absolutely. So what do you think?
I think it's a good episode.
That was a good one, I think.
What do you guys think?
All right, so I'm gonna hit you with our socials while we're sitting here. So Instagram and TikTok at the Pink Flag Pod. We're also on Spotify, Podchaser, and Audible for free. And check us out on YouTube. Yeah. Yes. Subscribe. It's also at the Pink Flag Pod. And subscribe, like all the things, share, comment, anything you want us to.
All of the things.
Our Instagram DMs are open.
A lot of our talking topics come from people that are messaging us and asking questions. So if y'all have any questions, I've got a whole list compiled right now, and we might have just one episode of like where we just answer questions.
Yeah. So send it to our Instagram DM.
Absolutely.
Instagram DM is the best way.
So we love getting to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for supporting our podcast. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Thanks.